episode of Wrestling with Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host, Armando.
Hi guys, I'm Armando, and welcome to Wrestling with Siblings.
Today we're going to be reviewing the first ever all-women's pay-per-view, WWE Evolution. What a wonderful show. It completely stole everything. Like, it exceeded my expectations, and I feel like they completely delivered to the point where I thought it was a best pay-per-view of the year.
For being an all-women's pay-per-view and being the first one, I thought they did a very fantastic job. I mean, this woman have proved themselves. The majority of them have been in NXT, and they've done a great job in NXT. And now in the main roster today, they did not fail, and they delivered.
They absolutely did, and I'm extremely proud of each and every single one of these women. But let's get into the very first match of the night, which was the returning legends, Trish Stratus and Lita versus Alicia Fox and Mickie James, with Alexa Bliss at ringside, as we got to see.
Keep in mind, it was supposed to be Alexa Bliss instead of Alicia Fox, but due to Alexa Bliss's injury, she wasn't able to compete, so they replaced her with Alicia Fox.
Exactly, but even then, I thought this was... It was a good match, and you can obviously tell that Trish and Lita haven't lost a beat. They haven't lost a step. They looked fabulous and completely amazing out there, and I feel like they really tried to deliver, and they did.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they were the pioneers that that paved the way for all the women. Like you said, they didn't miss a step. The match was great, and I think they set the bar as far as like what was expected of the pay-per-view. So they set the tone, they set the pace. Like, okay, you know what, you guys got to compete at this level.
Exactly, and I completely agree with that. I do feel like they did a fantastic job bringing those expectations high. And especially for them they're not part of the main roster. You know what I mean? They're not usually there. And they gave a fantastic match. And, you know, like, to get more into Mickie, they all know each other super well. These three women, they started pretty much in the same era, and now they're pretty much ending up in the same era. You know, and they're going up against newer talent. And in this occasion, Alicia, she's also a veteran, so you can't really say she's new talent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do feel like the match was absolutely fantastic, even with Alicia Fox, because Alicia, she brought like a different flow to this match than you usually have, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, even then, Trish and Lita, they looked awesome, like you said, and they seem to be working well together. They were on the same page since the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And same thing with Mickie and Alicia Fox. You can see that they were side by side. And again, we knew Alexa was going to interfere. That was pretty obvious. She wasn't just going to be at ringside and not do something, you know? And obviously Trish and Lita took home the win. As we expected, I really didn't think whether it was Alexa and Mickie or whether it was changed to Alicia and Mickie. I still think the outcome would have been the same. Trish and Lita were going to take it home for sure.
Definitely, I would agree with you, just because, like I said earlier, of what they did for the WWE and why they paved the road for the women in this pay-per-view. Another thing too is the energy was incredible.
Exactly.
It was just amazing from the get-go. I don't know if you guys felt it, but we did while we were watching, you know, Evolution. Just the energy, we felt it as even being audience, being part of the universe. We felt it.
The crowd was incredible. Long Island, you absolutely killed it. Absolutely incredible. Like, I have no words towards the crowd. And the crowd makes the show as well, because if you're sitting there and the crowd is completely dead, you're not going to feel the same emotion. And the crowd really did a fantastic job projecting that feel, that emotion towards us who were watching it here at home. You know what I mean?
And another thing too, I thought it was awesome to see Trish versus Mickie James again. You know, it brought back so much memories of the rivalry that they had back then.
Exactly.
You know? And then obviously Mickie James retiring Lita. So, you know, me and Araceli were talking, and we thought it would have been a great idea if they would have thrown, what would I say, Beth Phoenix and Natty.
Yeah, Beth Phoenix in there. Just because they all come from the same era, from the same generation of women, to put it that way. But regardless, it was a fantastic match. Rating, what do you give this match?
I give it about a high 7.
7.
And keep in mind, I'm sorry, none of the matches were disappointing. All of them were good from beginning to end. So I gotta say, I give this about a high 7.
They absolutely killed it too. Like, they did a fantastic job in this pay-per-view. From the first match to the very end, it was fantastic. Alright, let's get into the Women's Battle Royal. A lot of people weren't that interested in this match. And the reason why is because it's a Battle Royal. Usually, in Battle Royals, you can't really showcase what you can do.
Exactly.
The amount of talent that you actually have, you know? And here, I feel like everybody delivered to the standard. Everybody delivered in a really good way. The match was good. We saw the first people to get eliminated, and the reason why they got eliminated was because they were trash talking.
Their big mouth.
Yep, exactly. And it always backfires. It was the Iconics. They were the very first ones to be eliminated. And then Mandy and Sonya, they eliminated almost half the women.
They were doing a good job, forming that alliance, which we already know that they're partners, and they were doing a good job eliminating everybody. I think if they would have continued, to work together, they would have got
pretty far,
pretty much further in the battle royal. But it turns out everybody, it's by themselves.
It's every woman from themselves, and Mandy Rose eliminated Sonya Deville.
Yeah.
Hey, she wanted to win, but it backfired because she got eliminated, and it was down to the last 4 women who were Tamina, Nia, Ember, and then Asuka were the last ones. And wow, incredible. Selena Vega was smart. She waited till the very end, but that backfired because she thought she eliminated them, but in reality she didn't. And then Nia Jax picks her up and she just threw her right out of the ring like nothing.
And yeah, Selena Vega, I mean, she's done a great job with Andrade, like we said before, but her biggest mistake was that she took her eyes off Nia Jax and Ember Moon.
Exactly.
If she wouldn't have took her eyes off of them, I think she would have won. And I mean, we were close. I think you had said Selena Vega.
Yeah,
and I had said Ember Moon, so we were pretty close. Again, this is the thing about battle royals. A lot of surprises can happen. Anybody could win, and this one was pretty entertaining. I mean, we even got to see a little dance break in it too.
Yeah, we did, from Carmella, and Ivory, I believe, was the one that joined Carmella doing that. So see, those are the type of interesting things that get you going, because you're like, oh, I was not expecting that. You don't expect that in a battle royal for somebody to start completely just, dance break in the middle of nowhere. And as we know, R-Truth supporting Carmella at ringside. I know The Miz was there. He was supporting Asuka. But at the end of the day, I mean, we got to see Tamina and Nia Jax take out pretty much all the women that were there. And by take out, we don't necessarily mean that they took, them out of the match, literally. But they just took them out to where they can have a little moment. Do you feel like we're going to get a Tamina versus Nia feud eventually? I do feel like we are, because they've been teasing it a little too much for it to not happen.
Yeah, but I mean, we did see a little bit of them partnering with each other. We saw them form an alliance in the battle royal, which I thought it was great. I would love to see that. 2 of the powerhouses. I mean, they'll be unstoppable.
Exactly. And I mean, at the end of the day, I thought the battle royal was good. There was 20 women in this battle royal, and I liked it. Personally, I did. If I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give the battle royal a solid 8.
Solid 8. I'll agree with you on that one. And obviously, Nia Jax won, so she's gonna go and face, the winner of Nikki Bella and Ronda, which will tell you
at the end who it was.
Who it was.
Exactly. Okay, now let's get into Toni Storm versus Io Shirai, Mae Young Classic Finals. This match was good. Overall, I liked it. I feel like it was something fresh. It brings something new to the table. For those of you that don't follow the Mae Young Classic, they have a tournament every single year. The winner of it does get a 1-year contract to NXT. And in this case, Toni Storm was able to take down Io Shirai. Personally, I didn't think it was going to happen. But if you really look at it, Toni Storm has the presence of a superstar. And it's true. She has everything. She acts like a superstar. She talks like a superstar. She wrestles like a superstar. I think she's ready for NXT. And I think she's going to do a fantastic job down in NXT.
And we saw it throughout the tournament. And that's another big thing. You gotta convince everybody in the tournament, and I think that's what she did.
She took out Miko.
Yeah, which was one of the biggest stars with the more experience over in Japan.
Exactly.
And to do that,
that's amazing. That
and,
tells you something. That tells you she has some talent.
I personally thought that Miko was gonna make it to the final.
Same.
Because just throughout the tournament, she was so dominant. Her matches were great, and Toni Storm surprised us.
To be completely honest, I didn't think Toni Storm was gonna be able to take down Miko, but she did, and that put her a step closer to an NXT contract, and she did it by defeating Io Shirai. Io Shirai, I gotta say though, she performed one of the best moonsaults I have seen. Yeah. From the woman, at least, being performed. It was beautiful. It was smooth, completely beautiful.
Yeah, and then not only that, but Toni Storm, she dominated the entire match.
She did.
From beginning
to the end.
And I think that was crucial that she was able to helped her out to pull off the victory.
Exactly. And, she's super good. As we said, she was being creative. She was bringing out new moves. She knew how to get her opponent, and she was targeting Io Shirai perfectly. And she didn't give Io Shirai the opportunity to be able to come back and take her out.
Yeah, not let her go and do all her high-flying moves. We saw it when Io did the moonsault,
mm-hmm.
And Toni put her knees to block, and then after that she did it to her special move.
Yeah, she was there.
And then after that she was able to put a pinner and get the win.
Exactly.
So it did that. She did her homework. She did her scouting, and again, she was just impressive. Not only this match, but the entire tournament.
Exactly. And Io Shirai, same thing. She made it to the tournament, and I was surprised that she didn't win. We had originally predicted that Io Shirai was gonna win, and to be completely honest, we honestly thought she was gonna win it. And here's one of the reasons why: because Mia Jim, Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, and who was the other one that we were talking about? I think there was one more.
I can't remember.
I can't remember who it is, but they're basically going to be running NXT. You know what I mean? And yeah, Io Shirai didn't win, but she's going to get a contract regardless. We know that. She does an absolutely fantastic job during this match, and hey, there's nothing else I can say about it other than the woman delivered. They did a fantastic job. This was probably one of the top matches of this entire pay-per-view. I don't know if you can agree with me or not.
Definitely, I agree with you on that one. It was one of the top matches, but like you said, we had predicted just because, we know that, we think that Blazer's going to go up.
Yeah, so she's for sure going to get called up within the next, year and a half.
So we were predicting that Io was going to be, in NXT winning the tournament, that she was going to be the face that NXT needs because they're lacking on woman talent. Not that the women in NXT are not delivering.
The point is that they called up all their top women, like Sasha, Bayley, everybody else that was down there has been officially called up. And they don't really have a top woman down in NXT. And that's basically what we mean, that they were going to be running NXT. All three of them, together. All of them. Do you have anything else to add to this match?
I don't have anything else to add.
Alright, let's get into the Riot Squad versus Sasha, Bayley, and Natty. Again, one of the most amazing matches that I have seen. This was probably one of my favorites.
It was probably, number 2?
Number 2,
number
yeah.
Number 2 on our list of the top 3 matches of tonight.
Frequent tags from both sides of the teams, and then the Riot Squad does a fantastic job isolating their opponent. They do a fabulous job splitting the ring in half and keeping whoever they have, which in this case was Bayley for the longest time, away from her corner. And that's fantastic because that gives them the opportunity to frequently tag, and that gives them the opportunity to, dominate more of the match,
But not only that, they're able to, even though it was a 3-on-3,
yeah,
women's tag match, they were able to distract, the opposite team, and that's where they capitalized.
But you know why? Because they're a lot smarter.
Yeah.
And they work together as a team. They know how to function, and I feel like Ruby Riott plays a huge role in that because she is the leader of the Riot Squad. And we didn't see much of her this time around.
Yeah.
She didn't really wrestle as much. So this whole match was basically Liv and Sarah tagging back and forth. And it was fantastic because we got to see more of Sarah and we got to see more of Liv. And I feel like Liv has progressively gotten better, as well as Sarah Logan. They have both been doing a fantastic job in the main roster.
Yeah, and we already seen Ruby Riott, and I felt that in this pay-per-view, she pretty much put over, Sarah Logan and Liv, because we've seen them, but we haven't seen a whole lot of them, and I thought it was in this match is when we actually got to see more of them, and I mean, they were great.
And and the reason why is because Ruby Riott is usually the one that finishes the match, and she's usually the one that's dominating the majority of the match, right? But this time, she kind of just let Liv and Sarah do their own thing. And that was fantastic because we got to see more of them, like I said earlier. And Sasha, since she came back from her injury, I feel like she hasn't lost a beat. She's gotten a lot better than what she already was. As we already know, she's one of the best women's wrestlers that's on this roster. You know what I mean? And so is Bayley, and so is Natty.
I believe this was one of Bayley's better matches that we've seen throughout the year. I like the way she delivered. She expressed herself in the ring.
On the main roster.
On the main roster, yes.
Yeah, because she was in there for a long time, and yeah, she was putting over Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, but she was delivering at a point where you're like, I haven't seen this side of Bayley in a really long time.
And I mean, you can see how committed Bayley is with Sasha, and that they're really close, that she even sacrificed herself during the match.
Yeah.
For Sasha, knowing that Sasha was hurt because she got thrown into the
barricade. Yeah.
So,
from the Riot Squad.
Yeah, so her back was a little bit damaged. So, Bayley pretty much threw herself on top of Sasha, and she's the one that took the
she's the one that took the bump, basically.
That took the bump, and that was crucial, and that shows that they're committed, that they're on the same page.
Exactly, and after seeing them not be on the same page for a really, really long time, it's good to finally see them be together and to finally feel like they can express, their friendship, because we all know they're best friends behind wrestling, and the fact that they're able to bring that into the ring it gives you a different feel, because the passion they both have. And Natty, oh my god, she wasn't really in the match as much, but the time that she was able to deliver. And like I've said, Natty never disappoints. She always comes in with some fire energy. She's always ready to go, and she's always ready to put over new talent.
Yeah, and another thing about the Riot Squad too that's very impressive and that I like is that they always stick to the game plan, and
exactly.
they never change their mentality since the beginning, and I think that's what has made them strong and so successful of what they are.
And sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, and they just stick with it, and that's very, very crucial, because once you start changing your game plan, the way you start to wrestle, then that's when you start giving the opponent a lot more chances. Exactly.
I completely agree with that, but also the Riot Squad, they're not afraid to help each other out. They're not afraid to go above and beyond for each other, and as we know, they get along super well. And that's part of them being so dominating, that they work together as a team and they're willing to sacrifice each other for the match.
And like we said before, and you agreed with this with me, we see them as the shield of the women's division. Just when they started, they're troublemakers, and that's kind of what the shield was.
Exactly.
They would go out, and whatever they thought it was, injustice, that they'll go out and beat 3-on-1 on someone in the ring. And we saw that on multiple occasions, and what that kind of reminds me of the Riot Squad.
And they're always causing ruckus one way or another, and they're always, except the only part is that the Shield has been face, I believe, all the times that we've seen them. They're heel, which makes them even more interesting, because it's like, what are they going to do next? That is going to exceed my expectations. Alright, that's all I have for this match. What do you have? Is that it?
Yeah.
Rating. What are you going to rate this match?
I give this an 8.
I have to agree with that.
8. Just because, like you said, it was a good match. A lot of creativity. A lot of near falls. And overall, it was good.
8 seems like a pretty fair rating for this because it was good. The match was fantastic. I loved it.
And we're basing ourselves too on the crowd reaction. You know,
exactly.
The crowd was into it, and it was just overall was a good match.
Exactly. Okay, now let's get into Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship. Another one of the amazing matches, but I do feel like Shayna Baszler completely dominated the match. Like, she didn't even give Kairi Sane the opportunity to fire back at her.
Yeah, I mean, she used her power and her MMA skills came to play specifically into this match.
And she focuses on a specific part of your body, and then she goes for it, which in this case was, her knee, I believe, or her arm, something like that.
It was the arm.
Yeah, so
it was the arm because you saw the way she was bending it, and it was she just targets that part of the body, and she just focused on it, and I think that was very, very crucial in this match.
Yeah, of course.
And she said before, like she was saying before the match started and stuff on the promos, that she had made a mistake pretty much, you know, that Kairi Sane didn't beat her.
That one mistake cost her basically the entire match, and she proved today that she was willing to do anything to win, and we know that because the other half basically of the 4 horsewomen were at ringside, and they helped her win. And it's not that they actually like interfered, but they kind of did in some way because
it was
they distracted. Yeah, exactly. They distracted Kairi Sane, and I feel like Kairi Sane asked for it in a way. And the reason why I think she asked for it is because she was the one that threw Shayna into the actual, over the barricade into the other 2 horsewomen that were there.
WWE
yeah, exactly,
universe.
Into the WWE universe. And then that's when they got a little mad, and that's when the distraction came into play. And that's where Kairi Sane set herself up to lose the championship.
Yeah, and I think that was the turning point of the match. That was the crucial part, just the distraction, and then just the fact that, and you know what, they did get involved because forgot her name. She actually kicked her when the ref was distracted.
I forgot. Sorry, I forget their names because they're really hard to pronounce. But they're part of the 4 horsewomen from UFC, basically. And she set herself up to lose, obviously. But as we have said before, Io Shirai, Mia Jim. Who was the other one that I mentioned? I keep forgetting who their names are. But they're the ones that are going to be running NXT. And of course, Shayna Baszler is going to get called up between now and WrestleMania. Possibly after next year's WrestleMania, she'll be called up to the main roster. She's not going to be in NXT much longer. And then Kairi Sane is going to get called up within the next 2 years.
Yeah.
There has to be somebody down there that's going to run NXT.
Yeah. And so don't expect Kairi Sane to be up there, this year, maybe, like you said, a year and a half tops.
Exactly.
Anything, other than that, I thought it was a great match, and Baszler, I think she's ready to go up to the main roster.
I think so too.
It's something new. We need a lot more women heels, and I think she's gonna bring, a whole lot to the
something different. Let's get into Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair in the last women standing match for the WWE SmackDown Live Women's Championship.
Keep in mind, for me and Araceli, we thought this was the best match. This is the one that stole the show. It should have been the main event, just because of the quality of the match.
Exactly, and the feud that it's been having, the build up that it's been having over the last couple of months, it was main event worthy, honestly. And this match, it delivered 100%. Both women killed it. We heard that this is awesome chants throughout the match.
From beginning to end.
From beginning to end.
It didn't
exactly.
disappoint, and just the fact that you see women using chairs, candlesticks,
anything,
ladders, chairs, you name it, they went above and beyond. They literally put their body on the line.
Exactly.
To deliver, to put on a show.
Charlotte,
and that's what we want.
Yeah.
And like I said, and I told Araceli, we thought that Charlotte was gonna win just because she's big match Charlotte. She gets thrown in all the big matches. She got thrown in what was it? The first ever women's Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell against Sasha Banks. You know, she was the first woman to beat Asuka for her streak. She's always in the big matches. She wasn't at the Royal Rumble, but the only reason why she wasn't was because she was the champion.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why she wasn't in the match. Otherwise, she would have been there. You know, and at the end of the day, like, Charlotte couldn't even get up. And it got to a point where Becky was done. She was willing to just walk out and just drop everything and be like, you know what, I'm done. And that's how far she pushed Charlotte, and that's how far Charlotte pushed her. Charlotte couldn't even get up at the end. Like, she was still laying there after the 10 count.
Yeah. You know, they both pushed themselves to the limit.
To the limit.
Like I said, another reason why we thought Charlotte was going to win was what better place to become an 8-time, you know, women's champion than the historic pay-per-view of Evolution.
Of Evolution.
You know, it would have been great if she would have won it.
Exactly.
Know? But at the same time, you know, you need Becky right now. She needs a credible title range too. You know, just not a couple weeks. And I mean, we heard it from the crowd today.
Exactly.
We saw how much the crowd loves her and loves heel Becky.
The passion in this crowd, oh my god. So the match was in, Charlotte came out, and then Becky comes out, and everybody starts chanting, Becky, Becky. She's a heel. She's supposed to be hated, but she's not. She is, and I sincerely say this, and I firmly believe this, she is probably the best wrestler or women's wrestler WWE has right now. She's so over. She's crazy hot. Everybody's over the moon for Becky Lynch. And I feel like we haven't seen that from a woman in a really, really long time. And I feel like WWE thought it was Charlotte. I feel like they were like, you know what? Our woman is going to be Charlotte. Or even Nikki. Somebody who's like always, you know, gets a reaction when she comes out. But in this occasion, they were like, we're going to turn Becky heel, hoping that she was going to get booed, and she didn't. She's one of those heels that you just can't hate.
Yeah, she's just the reaction she's getting is just amazing. And like you said, you know, she's just a great heel. I think she's worked for it, and she's deserves everything that she has earned right now.
She needed this heel turn.
Yeah.
She 100% needed this heel turn. This heel turn has elevated her career and taken it to a completely new level. 100%.
And not only that, but like you said, the feud is personal. They were both they both were showing no mercy with each other.
Exactly. And like we saw them, they had a brawl at the Performance Center at the PC down in Orlando, Florida. You don't see that nowadays. You don't get to see women go backstage and go at it, or, you know, outside of the ring. You don't really get to see them fight. And this match and this feud gave you just that. It gave you something new, something different. It's not an everyday thing where you get to see women put each other through tables, put each other through ladders. All that stuff, you don't really get to see that nowadays. And you don't really get to see them go backstage, you know. And yeah, they didn't go to the back, but they were in the crowd. And they gave that crowd a fantastic match.
Yeah, and like you said, we're so used to seeing that with the men, with the male athletes, you know, going backstage, and just the fact that they're having, like you said, the feuds, the personal feuds. I mean, the way that when the entire locker room, the women's division cleared out, it comes separate them to have brawls like that. I mean, we're used to seeing that
with the men.
But we don't see it with the women, and that's what has made this feud what it is.
Not only that, like, these women are absolutely incredible. Both of them are. You know what I mean? And we've seen the career that Charlotte has had.
Yeah.
7-time women's champion, and I do think for the 8th, she's gonna have to work for it. Again, we predicted it a few months ago. I predicted it. Charlotte Flair is winning the Royal Rumble next year. It's obvious at this point that she's gonna win. She lost. I feel like this is the end of the Becky and Charlotte saga. I feel like this is where it ends. Becky can finally move on and fight somebody else. Who's her next opponent, though? I don't know. Naomi could possibly be somebody that I can see going for the championship. I could also see somebody like Asuka eventually down the line going for it. Who do you see going for the championship?
You pretty much named, you know,
the two that could run for it.
You know, if anything, the Iconics, you know, we could probably throw them in there in the mix.
I see that for sure.
You know.
And it's one of those things where this match was so incredible, I didn't have to get an entire match, and they 100% delivered. One of the highlights was when, and I thought this was amazing, was when Becky had just had it with Charlotte, and she completely just buries her after putting her through the announce. She put her through the announce table, right? No. She just like knocked her out, and then she put all this stuff over her. She put she took Renee's chair and like put it over. The ladder, all these chairs. She completely just buried her, and I was like, that's it. Like, there's no way she's gonna possibly get out of that. And she comes out with the angry look in her face, and I feel like this was the only opportunity that Charlotte had this entire match. Why? Because the entire match was dominated by Becky, 100%. And as soon as she unburied herself basically from that, she basically got the candlestick and just started swinging at Becky, and then you can see it gets to a point where she almost swung at a fan, and the fan had to go like that. You can see it on the camera. If you go back, you can actually see her go like this. But that was one of the only times that Charlotte was able to capitalize on Becky Lynch.
Yeah, because except Becky had done her homework, and I mean they know each other so well, and that plays a huge part into it. And another thing too is that Charlotte, she took a lot of abuse in this match.
She did,
especially in her back and lower back. And during the match, it was Becky. She kind of like does like a suplex. Mm-hmm. She kind of lands on her back on the hard part of the ladder.
Yeah.
So from there on, and then landing on all the chairs and stuff like that. So Charlotte did take a lot of abuse. In this match,
And you can tell, like you said, I mean, she was worn out towards the end because all that pain and all the, she went through so much in that match. It got to her at the end. She couldn't even stand up.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, Becky powerbomb from the top,
mm-hmm.
The top of the turnbuckle all the way down to
the
table.
And that's it.
And that was pretty much it. I thought she was going to get up because when you look at the match,
yeah.
She gets maybe like up to like her knees, gets one knee up mm-hmm. and the other one on the floor.
100%, yeah.
And, it was like, oh, she's going to get up, and it just gave out, but I give props to Charlotte. She gave it her all. Both of the women delivered.
Exactly, and it was an incredible match. For sure, it deserved the main event. It was brutal from beginning to the end. There wasn't 1 second where you're gonna say it wasn't brutal, because it was 100%, and you can feel the anger through each and every single one of those punches and each of those hits.
Yeah, and then not only that. Charlotte, if you notice towards like the end when the match was over, just the look that she gives Becky, she gives her this kind of type of look like all right, you beat me fair and square. So
exactly,
I really do think this is
the end.
This is pretty much the end of this feud up until this point, and I'm excited for what's yet to come for Becky. The way hopefully WWE keeps her, keeps on pushing her the way.
They are. She's gonna hold the championship up until WrestleMania. I can guarantee that. She's gonna lose it at WrestleMania against who? I already have a prediction against who she's gonna lose it to. Do I want to give it away? Do I not want to give it away?
If you want.
But I do feel like I know who's gonna dethrone Becky Lynch. And at the Royal Rumble, when Charlotte Flair wins the Royal Rumble, mark my words, she is going to win the Royal Rumble. When she wins the Royal Rumble, she's going to go on to face Ronda Rousey, and she's not going to pick Becky Lynch. She's already been in that chapter. She couldn't beat her. She's going to choose the other one, and they're going to main event WrestleMania next year.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking forward to the main event at WrestleMania, but like I said, who Becky Lynch is going to face, and you have an idea of who she's going to face at WrestleMania. And
I feel like it's coming. It's slowly coming, and I feel like that's why she was kind of thrown back out there. She wasn't just put in a storyline with somebody, and we're talking about Asuka.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna put it out there, okay? She was put with Naomi, and I feel like these two women are the two women that can challenge Becky as of right now for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. I feel like Asuka is gonna be the woman to dethrone Becky Lynch, and I feel like Asuka's push is long overdue now.
Yeah, they have to pretty much give give Becky time.
Exactly.
You know, and that's why they partnered Asuka with Naomi. You know, just to, like we said, just to kind of kill time.
And from what it looks like, we're gonna get Ronda versus Becky Lynch at Survivor Series. What do you think of that?
Ooh, that's gonna be a good match. You know, especially how the aggression that Becky is showing, her attitude right now, just the passion, the way she's delivering herself in the ring.
Exactly, and she knows she's good, and she backs it up in the ring. She proved that today against Charlotte. She's been proving it for the last couple of months, and I feel her against Ronda is money.
Yeah,
it's money. It's gonna be brilliant because you have, and not only that, it's like she's representing. Becky Lynch is gonna be representing 1/4 of the Horsewoman, and then Ronda Rousey's gonna be representing 1/4 of the UFC.
And if anything,
women.
That's where the feud between the
the
4 Horsewomen
exactly.
of the UFC and of the WWE, which is long one due. It's gonna happen eventually. We just don't know where. But I feel that this is gonna be what's gonna ignite it.
Exactly.
This is what's gonna ignite the whole feud. Obviously, you're gonna have some of the women that are still gonna be in NXT.
Exactly.
I don't think they're gonna, from the 4 Horsewomen of UFC, I don't think they're gonna get called up right away. So, I think this is gonna ignite the whole feud, and it's gonna start it.
It's for sure gonna be something that we're gonna see within the next 2 years. That's my prediction, only because if Shayna Baszler gets called up, she's gonna get called up at WrestleMania or after WrestleMania. The latest she'll get called up will probably be like SummerSlam or Survivor Series of next year, but that's pushing it a little too far.
I mean, don't be surprised if we see Baszler in the Royal Rumble, when the Women's Royal Rumble. Just because, it's gonna be that she's gonna get called up. She might get called up during the Royal Rumble or after WrestleMania, but for the rest of the women that the 4 Horsewomen of the UFC, I still think they need a little bit more time. Like you said, 1 or 2 years tops. We'll see it. If it happens sooner than that, I'm gonna be really surprised.
I would and I wouldn't, because I see Shayna Baszler getting called up soon, but I just don't see the other 2 that just got signed not that long ago get called up pretty soon. So, that being said, rating of the match, I give it a 10. It definitely was a 10. Like, you can't give it anything less than a 10 because it was that good. It 100% delivered in every way, shape, or form. I
mean, like we said, we saw everything. Even Becky Lynch was doing moves off. I think she did a leg drop from the top of the ladder. Charlotte did a couple moonsaults. So I mean, you saw a little bit of everything. And again, these women have been proving it since NXT, and now in the main roster. And they showed their talent today in the pay-per-view. And
this goes to show that given the time, they can deliver. Yeah. And that goes to every single one of these matches, including the next match that we're about to get into, which is Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella.
But following on that, it's kind of hard on the main roster because you're also competing, with the male females. They also got to give them...
Well, yeah, you have to be able to balance out between the women and the men.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, we completely get that. I mean, women now are getting 10, 15 minutes, and that's fine. But the problem is they're not getting a proper storyline.
Yeah.
With Evolution, there was no possible way you could go wrong because, one, there was, no storylines involved outside of the Evolution pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was strictly focused on Evolution, and they were all willing to give 100%, and that completely showed in this pay-per-view. And then, the next match was one of the most talked about matches of the entire pay-per-view. And the reason why is because of who's in it.
And before we moved on, we had said that Charlotte was gonna win the match, right?
But you said earlier it was because she's always in all these big matches. She's always on all the first evers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And like I said, she wasn't at the Royal Rumble only because she was the champion and she was gonna be defending the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship.
Okay, just wanted to make that clear that we had covered it.
No, yeah, we did. All right, Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella, and again, Nikki Bella comes out with Brie. I personally thought they were going to use Twin Magic. It didn't end up happening again. I predicted Nikki, but there was a reason why. This pay-per-view was one of the hardest to possibly predict because it could have gone both ways. If Ronda would have won, I would have been completely happy with it. She won. I have no problem with it. I feel like she's earned her spot now in the division, and I also feel like if Nikki would have won, the internet would have broken. But I do feel like Nikki has played a huge role in the women's evolution for her to not be a part of this match.
Yeah.
And I feel like she really does deserve the main event, even though people think Becky Lynch versus Charlotte was the main event, which it was, because it was a fantastic match. Like, nothing, I'm not taking anything away from them. But I do feel like Nikki has done enough to be able to at least deserve one main event in her career.
Yeah.
Which is something she hasn't had.
And we all know why she came back. She came back for Evolution. You know, that was, she had to be there. You know, Trish was there, Lita was there.
Yeah.
Other women legends were there. So
which we'll get
into.
It
was a given that
the Bellas were going to be
there. The Bellas were going to be there.
Exactly.
You know, and if she would have won it, yeah, I would have seen the business part of it because she was part of the
Evolution.
The Evolution part. You know, she was there at the beginning, and if she would have won, it would have been okay because she deserved it for
exactly
for everything
100%.
that she did, you know, for the women's division.
Exactly.
You know?
And this match, she delivered. You know, she really did give Ronda a fight. I feel that way. Obviously, we knew for a fact, I knew 100% that Ronda was going to retain. Obviously, for her to go on to face Charlotte at at WrestleMania next year, she was going to have to retain. She has to have a long title reign, just like Becky. And we knew that going into this match, right? But I do feel like she gave Ronda a fight, and I do feel like Nikki proved herself in this match again, and why she is where she is today, and why she deserved that main event. I do believe that. And I mean, Brie was pretty much the one that, I don't want to say cost her the match, but at the end, like, Ronda took her out.
Yeah.
And if Ronda would have never taken Brie out, you probably would have had a brand new Raw Women's Champion as of right now.
Because at the beginning, Ronda was dominating Nikki. You know, she was just grabbing her, tossing her around her with her physical strength. You know, and then all of a sudden, you know, Brie starts getting involved, starts distracting Ronda, and you know, Ronda kind of got distracted and took her eye off of Nikki a little bit, and that's when Nikki was able to capitalize, you know, on Ronda. And then, you know, once Ronda had the opportunity, she was able to take out Brie, and I think that was the turning point of the match and the crucial part. Yeah. You know, because once she got rid of Brie, then she was able to focus more on Nikki and was able to pull out the victory. And
Nikki coming back, being gone for so long. I mean, I think the last time we saw them wrestle was at the Rumble, but that's a different environment. It wasn't really like a singles match. Mm-hmm. But I feel like since she came back, she has been doing fantastic. I don't feel like she's lost a beat. I feel like she's still there, and she is booked past Evolution, so she's definitely going to be here a little bit longer, possibly till WrestleMania. I don't know, but I do feel like this is the Bella Twins' last run.
And I don't think this is the end of the feud with Ronda Rousey. Just because
at the end of the match, when she's out, what is it, at the ramp?
Yeah, she says this isn't over yet, so it's kind of teasing like down the road she'll face her. I don't think it'll be in a pay-per-view. If anything, I think she's gonna face her on Monday Night Raw. You know, just probably beat her at Monday Night Raw, but she won't beat her at a pay-per-view.
And if Nikki does beat her, it's not gonna be for a title opportunity.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
And if she beats her, it's gonna be using, like you said,
Twin Magic,
which we thought that she was gonna use.
I really thought so, but I guess not. Obviously, we knew that Twin Magic or no Twin Magic, Ronda Rousey was gonna retain. There was no possible way that she was gonna lose, because storyline wise, it doesn't make sense. If we are gonna go with Charlotte Flair winning the Rumble and then facing Ronda Rousey, there was no way that Nikki was gonna beat her. The only way that could have possibly happened is Nikki wins and then loses it right after, which would have been pointless. So I'd rather see Ronda just go on as champion and continue dominating. Nia Jax, who won the Battle Royal, gets an opportunity for the title. And we've seen this match. Have we seen it? Yeah, we
Ronda
had
versus
Nia Jax.
Nia Jax.
Yeah.
I believe that's where
She beat her for
no,
the... No,
that's
she
where
didn't.
Alexa cashed in
Yeah.
for
Exactly.
the,
You're
where
right.
she
You're
won
right.
the
You're
Money
right.
in the Bank that same night. So we've seen this match. You know, I'm excited for what's coming for Ronda. She's been doing a great job since she got signed with the WWE, and again they brought her to be the face of the women's division. You know, and if you wanted her to be the face of the women's division, she has to have, you know, a long title reign. She's gonna be that unstoppable woman that nobody's gonna be able to beat her, and we think that that's gonna stop. That she's gonna be undefeated up until WrestleMania. But yet again, like I said, if Nikki ends up beating her, you know, it won't be for the title, and she's gonna beat her probably using Twin Magic.
And not only that, but like you said, she had to really prove herself, and she had to really, like, you know, put herself out there and have a long title reign. But I feel like in order for her to do that, to become a little more credible, she had to beat somebody. She had to beat someone who was a trailblazer in the women's evolution, and that's Nikki Bella. And I feel like a win over Nikki is really gonna, like,
elevate her
exactly.
career. And you pretty much took what I was gonna say. This was the biggest match in Ronda Rousey's career. In order for her to elevate, she had to beat someone big, and who other than Nikki Bella.
Exactly. Nikki is the biggest star in the WWE. Well, she is one of the biggest stars based on, like, reality TV, based on, like, all the companies. Successful wise, she's successful. We know that, right? And in order for Ronda to prove herself and to really show the WWE universe, I feel like she had to beat somebody big. And at this point, yeah, Alexa is big. So it's like Nia Jax. She's like a top name. But her beating Nikki Bella and her getting a victory over Nikki Bella puts her career on a different level. You know what I mean? And Nikki had nothing to lose. There was nothing for Nikki to lose.
Nikki has already done everything. She's been the longest
reigning Divas champion, you know, and aside from all that, if she wanted to come across, like, as a credible champion, not that she wasn't before, but I feel like I strongly do believe that her beating Nikki is gonna put her at a different level. She has something to brag about now. She beat the longest reigning Divas champion, and she can go on and say, I beat the longest reigning Divas champion. I made her tap. This, and that. Nikki, on the other hand, she lost. She's not losing anything. What's next for Nikki? Putting over newer talent.
So, do you think Nikki's gonna be champion in her last run in the WWE?
Possibly.
Possibly. Okay. What do you see? Any prediction on when do you see it? Will it be after WrestleMania or before WrestleMania?
Well, it depends how long they're trying to stay. From here till Mania, she probably won't win it. If anything, she could win it after WrestleMania, sure, and then, like, have a small title reign up until SummerSlam. And the reason why I say SummerSlam is SummerSlam tends to be big for the Bella Twins. We do know that's when she returned, but yeah, I feel like she can't retire without winning the women's championship.
So,
like, it just doesn't make sense to me, at least.
Are we gonna see Nikki tomorrow on Monday Night Raw, or is she gonna completely go off TV for a couple months and then possibly come back at the Royal Rumble?
I don't know. I know she's booked right after Evolution, but I don't know if she's gonna be at Raw. She probably is. I mean, it's the night after the biggest pay-per-view for women, so you can for sure see her there. She did say the feud wasn't over, so she might possibly be there. Another person Ronda Rousey can possibly feud with is her friend Natty.
Oh, we did talk about that. I think after Nia, it's probably gonna be Natty.
It makes perfect sense for it to be Natalya because they've been friends for so long, and at some point they're gonna have to betray each other, and it's either gonna be Ronda turns heel and betrays Natty, which I don't see it happening. It has to be where Natty turns on Ronda, and Ronda just loses all hope on everybody because everybody just betrays her.
Yeah, she feels that. I think she's gonna feel that she has a target on her back from all the women. Not only because she's the champion, but that tends to happen when you're the champion. You're the target, but just because she's new in the business. And she might feel that a lot of women are jealous of her.
Exactly.
You know, so that may play a huge factor. Like Natty, she's been in the business for a very, very long time, and you have an athlete like Ronda Rousey that comes in and all of a sudden gets all this attention. She gets thrown into the title picture right away. So, I mean, how do you think Natty feels?
Exactly.
So that would make a great, a great storyline.
And Natty has been here for years. We know that. And she's worked super, super hard to get a title opportunity. And we know she recently got the opportunity. And she did really good with it. She got the opportunity and she ran with it. She did a fantastic job. And I do feel like she's the next contender. I see Ruby Riott going for the title picture as well, but I don't see her facing Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, I don't see her neither. If anything,
she's gonna play it cool until Ronda isn't champion anymore. And when I do think Charlotte is gonna beat her at WrestleMania, and then that kind of puts you in the level we have a new champion now. And I do feel like Ruby Riott would then capitalize on that. She's smart. We've seen it in all the matches. She's brilliant. That's if she doesn't move over to SmackDown.
Which I'm hoping she kind of does move to SmackDown, because I think it'll be better for her career. And if she does move, we want her to move so she could be in singles competition.
Exactly.
I feel that they're gonna stick with. She's gonna stick with the Riot Squad maybe up until WrestleMania, and then from there we'll probably see them split.
But here's the thing: if she does end up splitting the Riot Squad, I think she's going to take at least one member with her. I don't really think she's going to be alone, at least for now. Personally, in my opinion, if they decide to go that she moves and they're taking a member of the Riot Squad, I think she's going to take Liv with her. Just because you can kind of see they become close, And I do feel like Ruby Riott is the next contender for a championship. The real question: do you think Evolution will come back next year? I personally think yes, it should, because the first one was brilliant. The second one, I think, is going to deliver even more. And for the first ever all-women's pay-per-view, it wasn't bad. Like, it really wasn't. It was good. It was a fantastic pay-per-view, and I feel like if we were to get a second one, which I feel like they should, it would be 100 times better. Because the first one, they didn't really have something to go based off. You didn't have anything to beat. You were basically setting the standard. You were setting the expectation. And if we do get a second all-women's pay-per-view, you're already going to be like, okay, now I have to be better than when I was in the first. I have to be better than the first one.
Yeah, definitely agree with you. Hopefully we do get, another women's pay-per-view. But the question also is it going to be a yearly thing or is it going to be a monthly thing? Me personally, I think it should be a yearly thing.
Yeah.
Just because the roster is not in depth right now. And
it's not that. It's just that you can't do it monthly, because if you were to do it monthly, it's going to be like, okay, we're seeing the same talent over and over and over again. And the storylines, you can only do so much with the storylines. This, you have a year to think ahead. You have a year to be like, oh, I could do this, I could do that, and you can put in a different match. Now, if it were to be a monthly thing, I think it would get tiring after a while, because there's only so many women that you can use. For this one, they brought back legends, and you can't be bringing back the legends each month.
Yeah.
So it has to be a yearly thing. You can't be doing it every month, because that's not something all the legends can do. And we got to see people like Lillian Garcia, Michelle McCool, we saw Kelly, we saw Ivory, we saw a whole bunch of talent that we haven't seen, we don't normally see.
And another thing too, if it were to make a monthly thing, it would be saying that you're pretty much splitting up the woman, getting
your own brand,
your own division of the woman, your own brand, your own woman's brand. But like I said, hopefully it's a yearly thing, and it's only gonna get better from this. I mean, we thought the show was good, the pay-per-view. It could only get better.
Exactly.
And it's only gonna get better just because the talent in NXT.
It's gonna keep growing.
The Mae Young Classic, we saw a lot of good talent there, so it's just gonna keep elevating, and I feel that that's what the women need. It's gonna get a lot better.
Exactly.
And
let's get into all the legends that were there. We got to see, like I said earlier, Lillian Garcia return. And Armando and I, we both agree on this. We feel like Lillian Garcia was one of the ones that started the revolution. And the only reason why we say that is because she was the only woman in the men's world, and she was dominating. She was killing it at what she was doing, you know. And now we see, like, Raw, the main show, has JoJo. SmackDown has, I believe his name is Mike Rome. He does, he's the ring announcer, right?
Yeah.
And now I feel like that because of Lillian, we get to see Renee Young be the first female commentator, full-time female commentator in Raw, and she's in the Big Show. It's not like they sent her down to SmackDown. She's doing Raw, and I think Lillian Garcia played a really huge role into that, and I feel like she doesn't get the credit that she deserves for putting the women on the map.
Definitely. I mean, if you really think about it, Lillian was the voice of the woman at that time. You know, because when the show opened up, who was the first person you saw or that you heard? It was Lillian Garcia.
Exactly.
You know, and not only that, she showed her talents not only in the ring by being, you know, the ring announcer, but also when she sang. She was multi-talented, you know. She
did so much for the women.
She would sing, you know, and now she has her own podcast. She did a lot, you know, and being in the men's world, her being the only woman there, and you know, being the announcer, you know,
she really did a lot for the women's division itself, and not to mention Trish and Lita, who obviously, like, they had it hard because they came from an era where you really, like, didn't have much. They had 2-minute matches, 3-minute matches, and then they had bra and panties matches, and then they had pillow fights, and they had all these other stuff. They were basically treated as eye candy. And then Trish and Lita put women's wrestling on the map, and not to mention, like, Michelle McCool, Kelly, and the rest of the women, because there's so many women, you just can't possibly name all of them up until where we are now.
And not only that, Trish and Lita have said it, and other women too, that if they had the amount of training that they had now, then they would be a lot more better. They would have elevated their in-ring skills and performing level.
It changes everything, though, and they were the first woman to main event a Raw, you know, and to now be part of the pay-per-view. So what? They opened Evolution. It doesn't matter because guess what? They worked hard enough to see women succeed, to see women get to the level where they are now. You know what I mean? And they opened the show and they were completely fine with it. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're not complaining about it. You know what I mean? And then you have people like Paige, who Armando wanted to talk to you guys about Paige.
So as we all know, you know, the Bellas were pretty much what started the, you know, they were key on the women's evolution.
And that's a really complicated topic, which I'll explain to you guys right now, but Armando's going to get into Paige.
So I feel that Paige also doesn't get a lot of the credit that she, like, deserves, just because she was that transition point between the woman from NXT and moving into the main roster.
Exactly.
I feel that if her not winning the title when she first debuted in the main roster, if that wouldn't have been successful, and if she wouldn't have got the reaction, probably the NXT women wouldn't have gotten, you know, that huge push, because after that, maybe I gotta say a year later, you know, the Four Horsewomen, you know, Charlotte, Sasha, Becky, and Bayley, they all moved up.
Well, Bayley moved up separately. She moved up after them. But to piggyback on what he was saying, the Bellas also played a role into this, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, the Bellas didn't do anything for the division. They did, because while Paige was trying to show that there was more talent down in NXT, that there was people that could do more in NXT, that there was wrestlers down in NXT breaking barriers, the Bellas were like, we're gonna run with that, you know what I mean? And they kind of just opened that door, and the reason why is because they were there and they had 2-minute matches, and the match that started it, it was the Bellas versus Paige and Emma. The match was about like 20 seconds long. They come out of that match, and the hashtag Give Divas a Chance is completely trending on the internet for like 3 days straight, right? And I feel like Nikki and Brie feuding with Paige before all of that is what opened the doors for all the women from NXT to come up. And when the women from NXT, which I believe came up in June, they came up in summer of 2015. I know that for a fact. They come up, and who are they put against? Team Bella, right? Which was Nikki, Brie, and Alicia Fox, right? And then you had Paige, who was already on the main roster, with Charlotte and Becky.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Naomi and Tamina, who were already on the main roster. Think about it. Veterans. All these girls had already been here. And then you had Sasha Banks with them. So it was like everybody played a role, and the Bellas opened those opportunities for them, and they were putting over the brand new talent that had just come up, you know? And Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte were there to prove to the girls on the main roster that they can hang, that they were starting something new. And I feel like all of them played a role. Like, if it wasn't for the Bellas who opened opportunities for all these women, I don't feel like the Evolution would have been what it is today.
And with Paige too, and I feel bad for Paige, you know, just because
her
injury came in a bad timing. You know, we all know she left WWE, and that was during the time where we had the first ever women's Hell in a Cell, the women's elimination chamber. So all these historic matches, she really didn't have part on. You know? And
exactly.
You could tell that
it hurts.
It hurts her because she really wants to be part of it, and I think where she really showed it was at the Royal Rumble.
Exactly.
You know, because you could tell that she really wanted to be part of it.
Yeah, she was commentary at that point. She was commentating the match. Yeah. And you can just hear it in her voice, and you can tell by her face expression that she was sad. And it's truly heartbreaking because, like we said, she was the one that kind of brought that transition up until the main roster, along with the Bellas opening those opportunities for them, you know? And I do feel like without Paige, without the Bellas, without Lillian Garcia, without Trish and Lita, without all the women that came before and after, the past, the future, and the present, there would be no Women's Evolution, you know? And they all deserve the same amount of credit because they've all done the same amount of work, you know? And now to have their own pay-per-view, it's incredible.
And I would have loved to see Paige on the pay-per-view today. I felt that she would have been, you know, she's happy for all her,
but
for our friends and everybody in the women's roster, but I feel that she really wanted to be part of it too.
Yeah, you know? It's different because she knows she played a huge role in the women's evolution. And like she knows that, and to like see everybody do it, it's like, wow, she is blessed. But to be like, I don't get to be there, like she's there, but she doesn't get to witness history and be part of history that she started.
Yeah.
Is truly heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, imagine Evolution without Lillian Garcia. It's like,
or without the Bellas, or without
Trish and Lita. Like, you can't just book an all-women's pay-per-view and then not have Trish and Lita be a part of it and be like, but these women paved the way for everybody else, you know? And that is like, I'm just proud of all the women because of how far they've gotten to this point.
Yeah, definitely. You know,
I do want to see another Evolution pay-per-view. Hopefully we can go to the next one. We couldn't go to this one. But I do want to see another one. 100%.
Definitely. You know, and this is going to put... I'm pretty sure mostly everybody was happy with the pay-per-view, but I think this is going to elevate women's wrestling.
Exactly.
Even more, not only in the WWE, but just, you know, around the world globally, you know, and it's a huge part for the women, you know, and I'm happy that they were able to get their own show, their own pay-per-view.
And it just goes to show, given the time, given the opportunity,
and the right booking,
they will deliver. And not even that, like the Sasha Bailey and Natty match versus the Riot Squad wasn't really built. Yeah, we've gotten this over the last couple of months on the main roster, but at the end of the day, they got the time and they were able to project a story without having an actual storyline to go for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that plays a huge role in everything.
And if you don't have time, you know, on TV or time to wrestle, you really can't show your skill.
Exactly.
You know, and I feel that each of these women gave it their all. tonight and was able to prove like, hey, we could do it. If the men could do
Exactly.
it, we could do it even better. I'm gonna say I think this was one of the top pay-per-views,
For me,
out there.
and I think it's like, I'm a huge women's wrestling fan, right? But I think this by far was the best pay-per-view of this year. That's my personal opinion. I don't know. I know it's probably amongst your top this year. I don't know if it was your like favorite, but to me it was. And I mean, it's amazing, and I do want to see another one.
Definitely, it was one of my favorites, and I'm not gonna say it was the best one because
Yeah.
there's still more pay-per-views to come.
Well, yeah,
You
but
know? But up till now, it was one of my
Mhm.
favorites. And like I said, a lot of surprises, and it was a tough one to predict.
It was.
Not only because you had the new generation versus
the past, the present, and the future.
versus the past, and if you had a lot of them, mostly the past one
What?
on the matches today, like we saw Lita and
Yeah, you got to see a lot of the legends come back, like in the Battle Royal is where most of them were, and I know a lot of people were a little pissed off because it was a Battle Royal, but at the end of the day, everybody got the opportunity to be out there. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, to me, that's what counts. And the pay-per-view was good. And people still tuned in. It got an amazing reaction on Twitter. The show sold out.
which was the important thing.
Which was, because it shows that, like, you're going out to support women's wrestling. I support it. I know he supports it. But now it's showing, like, they're not eye candy anymore. They're not the bathroom break anymore. It's beyond that now, and we are at a point where women's wrestling matters. And the panel was all women. Michael Cole made appearances here and there, but I understand because he's Michael Cole, and he has top knowledge when it comes to wrestling. And the kickoff panel was Renee, Beth, and Paige. And I think it was perfect. I think it was 100% perfect, and there was no women on the kickoff show. They were all on the main show. But even if they were in the kickoff show, you're still getting the opportunity.
Yeah, you're getting the time that we claimed that the woman needed.
Exactly.
Whether you're on the pre-show, on the main event, or you're in the mid card.
And the more matches that you can get, it's better for you because it's putting women's wrestling out on the map.
Yeah.
100%.
Definitely.
That's all I have.
That's all we have.
That's all you have?
That's all I have.
Okay, so that's all we have for this episode of Wrestling with Siblings. Again, you guys don't really get to see our faces, but we figured we'd give you guys something different. If you guys like it, be sure to comment, like, share, and subscribe. We'll definitely be doing another show this week on Raw and SmackDown. We'll probably piggyback more on Evolution as, the storylines start to go forward. But yeah, that's all I have. Is there anything you want to add?
Thank you guys for all your love and support,
And before we do head out, Armando, can you tell them what does WWS stand for?
Wrestling with Siblings.
Join us next week on Wrestling with Siblings, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe because we definitely will be back. Tweet us what you guys thought about this new thing that we're trying out. Alright, we'll see you guys. I was going to say next week, but it's already next week, so we'll see you guys next time.